Well, we now know why Senator Dianne Feinstein of California is being forced to remain in her seat, despite being 89 with dementia and having just recovered from shingles. And no, it's not because Feinstein wants to represent her people in California. She really cares about the job. No, this has to do with Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi's apparent fear, and this is not some fringe paper saying this. This is not some fringe outlet. This is Politico. As standard reporting from Washington as you can possibly get, Politico. They are reporting that Nancy Pelosi wants Feinstein to remain in her seat because Pelosi is afraid that a black progressive woman may replace her if Feinstein retires before 2024. If you think I'm lying to you, just wait for these details because this is absolutely insane. So this all starts really back in 2020 when the first reports came out about Feinstein's health. As I covered back then, Dianne Feinstein staffers blow the whistle on her health. This is based on reporting from the New Yorker, Jane Mayer here, and her headline, Dianne Feinstein's missteps raise a powerful age question among Senate Democrats. Going on to discuss conversations that Feinstein had or has had with her staff, with other senators, and how Feinstein just completely forgets conversations, forgets votes, forgets people, clearly not well, to a larger degree. I mean, you could argue a lot of senators not well, but Feinstein not well to a larger degree than others there, to the point that it is very clear that she has dementia. But being forced to remain in her seat for political gain. So there have been many more reports since 2020 of specific examples of her behavior. This from Business Insider. Dianne Feinstein once mistook Republican Senator Tim Scott for Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. Feinstein congratulated Republican Senator Tim Scott on his victory for joining the Senate. She thought she was speaking to Raphael Warnock. And it's not like she realized it and corrected her mistake. No, she had a full conversation with Tim Scott thinking he was Warnock. And Tim Scott, I guess to his credit, didn't want to put her in an uncomfortable position, just was like, oh, thank you, and then walked away. And I'm sure her staff, actually, I believe the reporting writes how her staff, were horrified because they realized what was going on. And getting her out of conversations appears to be the majority of what her staff is doing right now, apart from also keeping her in her seat against her will. So there's another example here, a recent example, a brief concerning conversation with Dianne Feinstein. This is from Slate. This conversation is amazing. The reporter asked how Feinstein was feeling. Quote, "Oh, I'm feeling fine. I have a problem with the leg." A fellow reporter staking out the elevator asked what was wrong with the leg. "Well, nothing that's anyone concerned but mine," she said. When the fellow reporter asked her what the response from her colleagues had been like since her return, the conversation took an odd turn. "No, I haven't been gone," she said. Feinstein was gone for months. She forgot. You should follow the "I haven't been gone. I've been working." When asked whether she meant she'd been working from home, she turned feisty. "No, I've been here. I've been voting," she said. "Please, you either know or you don't know." After deflecting one final question about those like Ro Khanna who called on her to resign, she was wheeled away. Again, this is the majority of what her staff does. Try to get her out of conversations because they know that she should not be there. I don't know how anybody can possibly argue that Feinstein is there because she wants to be there when she doesn't even remember being gone for months. Now we get to this Pelosi story. Feinstein's primary caregiver is Nancy Pelosi's daughter. Like, how is this allowed? This story is unbelievable. A quiet caretaking arrangement has raised questions about whether Nancy Pelosi has the ailing senator's personal interests at heart. Really? Raising questions? It's quite clear Pelosi don't give an F. She's doing this to keep Feinstein there, as you're going to read in this piece, simply for her own political purposes. The intrigue surrounds the future of Feinstein's seat. Pelosi has endorsed Representative Adam Schiff, her longtime protege and former hand-picked House Intelligence Committee chair, to succeed Feinstein after her sixth and final term ends next year. Schiff is a household name in California and already has a $15 million campaign cash advantage over his nearest competitor. But if Feinstein were to bow to pressure and retire early, Schiff's advantage could disappear. Governor Gavin Newsom has pledged to appoint a black woman to serve out her term, and one of Schiff's declared opponents, Representative Barbara Lee, would fit the bill. If Dianne Feinstein resigns right now, there is an enormous probability that Barbara Lee gets appointed. Thus, it makes it harder for Schiff. One Pelosi family confidant told Playbook, adding that the relationship between Pelosi, her daughter, and the senator is being kept under wraps and very, very closely held. If there is nothing to hide here, why would they be hiding this? It is very, very clear what is going on. They are keeping Feinstein in her seat to simply help Adam Schiff. The other half of this is just like, as a person, like Pelosi is supposed to be one of Feinstein's friends. Simply as a friend, how could you do this to your friend? Force them to remain in this seat for your own political purposes, when you know they are not well, when you know they should be home with their family. You're forcing them in their last years to do something that is purely beneficial to you as a politician. I just don't. I'm not made out for this world. Like, this is there. I would not succeed in politics if this is what it takes to get ahead. I could not cross lines like this. This is unbelievable. Quote, it's very tricky and political because they want her to stay in the Senate, said the person who spoke on condition of anonymity. Quote, the political thinking is that if Dianne Feinstein stays as long as possible, it helps Schiff as well, clearly. Now, Pelosi's spokesperson here, Bennett, rejected suggestions that Pelosi was seeking to influence Feinstein's decision about her future. Quote, anyone who knows Senator Feinstein knows that her service in the Senate is entirely her own decision, and Speaker Pelosi would never suggest otherwise. Then why does Pelosi have her daughter following Feinstein around? Why is Feinstein forgetting things like being gone for months, confusing people? Not to mention this I covered this because it was so just stunning. Feinstein announced her retirement back in February, that she would step down in 2024 after the end of her term. And that same day, this happened. When asked about her retirement by reporters hours later, Feinstein did not seem to be aware that the statement was released. When asked by Raw Story about finally retiring, Feinstein said, quote, oh no, I'm not announcing anything, adding that she will one day. Hours after she announced retirement, or I should say her staff announced it, but of course she was aware that she was announcing her retirement. I'm sure they told her. Hours later, she forgot that it was announced. Come on. It is, I want to say unbelievable, but at this point, it's not hard to believe what some people will do for power. Last thing here, this is just an Onion headline that I thought was humorous. Senator Feinstein, quote, let me retire on my own terms with everyone effing hating me as I hold that democracy hostage. So part of the issue right now, because, you may think there's a divided Congress. What can even get through here? Why does it matter if Feinstein's there or not? Just in terms of votes. But it does in terms of judges. So that was the big issue when Feinstein was gone for months, is they were not able to get judges through because she was gone. They need her vote. So, but even apart from any procedural reasons or any political or policy reasons, forcing someone to be in this position where you are representing you're representing tens of millions of people in the state of California when you clearly are not in the right headspace to do so. Like, this is not some executive position that, even then shouldn't be in that position if you're in a state like this. But this is a position where you are a public servant. You're a public servant, and you clearly are not able to properly serve the public in any capacity. As I said, I have hope that this may actually go somewhere. This may actually cause some changes because of who covered this story, because Politico are the ones breaking the story. This may actually have some impact, but we're going to have to wait and see about that.